Okay, I think we're live streaming. Okay, excellent. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 21st, 2022 Community Board 10 Brooklyn General Meeting. And I would like to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do. And I think Josephine's getting the flag up here. Thank you. So we'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now I would like to call for an adoption of the agenda.
Joe?
Thank you, Joe. And do I have a second? Oh, I see Sandy waving. Thank you, Sandy. And now an adoption of the minutes, which were sent out to everyone previously. Do I have, oh, I've got Shirley Chin, and thank you, Preston, for the second. And now I would like to move to the public session. And first we have with us this evening, Senator Andrew Gennardis. Or do we? I saw.
Yes, he's definitely here.
Yes.
I saw him.
He did say he was here. I saw him before.
Yeah.
Maybe he's having technical difficulties.
He said he's not on panelist.
He's
mode.
not on panelist mode, Joe. Can we?
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay.
We apologize. Let me see.
Okay. You should be now. Sorry.
Are you there? Senator Gennardis?
Yes. Can you
Okay, we did it.
there you go.
We've almost figured out how to work this. Yeah.
Hello,
I'm
everyone.
sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Greetings from slightly chilly Albany. I literally just left the Capitol about 2 minutes ago. We are up here. The state budget is due at the end of next Friday. So we are in crunch time. This is when all the magic happens and all the sausage making happens to finalize the state budget between now and next Friday. It's due March 31st at midnight. So busy couple of weeks up ahead. A couple of things I'll just highlight. Last week, the governor signed two of my bills, numbers 55 and 56, actually, in the last 3 years, about sexual harassment in the workplace. And these two bills, which are now law, would protect victims of workplace sexual harassment. I want to give a special shout out to my chief of staff, Tori, who all of you know, who was a driving force behind those bills. And she actually spoke at the press conference when the governor signed the bills last week. So kudos to Tori for that. In terms of the state budget, there's a lot going on. I'll just highlight a couple of quick things that I'm really prioritizing. First and foremost is childcare. There's an ambulance going right by me. There has been a big push to make childcare more accessible and affordable statewide. Many families don't have access to affordable childcare. As many of you know, we have a toddler at home. We're going through this right now ourselves. Definitely want to see an expansion of childcare options for folks across the state. And we're looking at some pretty ambitious plans to have like a $3 billion childcare industry set up in the state, hopefully with this budget. Number two, investments into CUNY. Believe it or not, my district represents more CUNY students than any other member of the state legislature. And over the last decade, support for CUNY has dropped by 20% from Albany. So we're working to reverse those cuts. We have students who have come to me telling me that the ceiling tiles are collapsing on them while they're in class trying to learn. And there's been a dramatic decrease in the number of full-time faculty. So we're looking to reverse some of those trends with support to CUNY and SUNY as well, but really CUNY. Third piece I'll highlight, the governor has announced a plan for a $2.2 billion property tax rebate that I'm very bullish on, that hopefully we can see enacted in the final budget. This is not the solution to our property tax problem, but it certainly helps take a little bit of the bite off of what we all know is just a broken property tax system. So I'll stop there. I can go on for hours and hours on this stuff. And if you have time for a question, I'm happy to take a question or two, but I'll leave that up to you, Laurie.
Does anyone have a question for Andrew? And let's bear in mind, he's standing outside where it's chilly in Albany on a phone.
Oh, sorry. And one last thing I'll say, we are also trying to increase, the state rental assistance program ran out of money a few months ago. While we are waiting for the federal government to chip in some more, we estimate there's about $1.2 billion still of unmet rental need from COVID. The state, we're trying to make a push that if the federal government does not provide that additional support, then we're going to have to figure out a way to do it from state dollars, which is an effort that I am supportive of, because we still have people who are behind on rent because of COVID, which means they have not paid their landlord, which means, people are still hurting. So, but any questions, happy to take.
I don't see any hands up. I could be missing, but
See, Doris has a hand up.
Okay,
oh,
okay.
go Doris.
I put it in the chat, just you, Andrew, but as a Hunter graduate, when Hunter was free.
Yep.
I believe funding of CUNY is essential. It's important to the vitality of our city.
Thank you, Doris. Believe it or not, in 2019, there was a survey done. More than 50% of all CUNY students were housing insecure, which means that they did not have
Yes.
stable housing. 40% of them reported skipping at least one meal a week because they couldn't afford it. Those are staggering numbers. And as the rates go up, tuition goes up, fees go up, it makes it harder and harder for CUNY students to be able to afford that education. So big priority for me.
Okay, thank you very
All right.
much, Senator
Thank you,
Gennardis,
everyone.
for your hard work.
Thank you.
You.
Be well, guys.
Thanks. Okay, and now we have Council Member Justin Brannan.
Thank you, Lori. I'm coming to you live from cozy and warm City Hall, unlike Andrew, who's out in the cold. It's good to see everybody. February was a short month, so it's time again for another community board meeting. It's great to see everyone again. Look forward to seeing everyone in person soon enough. I am excited for St. Patrick's Day Parade coming this Sunday in Bay Ridge on 3rd Avenue, March 27th. I hope to see everyone there. First time we're having the parade in 2 years because it was canceled due to COVID. This will be the 27th annual St. Patrick's Parade. It's a great tradition. Another thing I'm really excited about is over the past 4 years, I've managed to squirrel away and secure and allocate around $45 million to renovate just about all of our local parks and playgrounds that haven't seen any love in at least 20 or 30 years. And right on time, last 2 weeks ago, the mayor announced that all park projects that were previously paused due to COVID can now move forward. So that means that over the next 12 to 16 months, you'll see shovels in the ground at nearly all of the parks and playgrounds that we funded. And really, we've left no stone unturned. There's still work to do, but across the district, Bay Ridge, Dyker Heights, Bath Beach, Bensonhurst, everyone is going to see some love in that $45 million of allocations. And that's it. We're here for you. Our staff is here for you. No problem is too big or too small, as you know, and we're working closely with Senator Gennardis as well on the CUNY funding to make sure that CUNY gets what it needs in the city budget as well. Working on the city budget, which will get passed sometime in late June. And my new role as finance chair, I'm going to be working hard to make sure CUNY is funded, make sure our garbage gets picked up, make sure our parks are fully funded, and also fighting to get art and music included in the baseline curriculum for DOE. Something very personal to me as a kid at McKinley. I learned a couple of chords on guitar and I turned that into a career of 10 years touring the world. Just on those couple of chords I learned from Mr. Klami at McKinley. So I want to make sure that all kids have a robust art and music education in school. So we're fighting hard for that as well. So it's good to see everybody. Thanks for having me. And I look forward to another good meeting.
Thank you very much. And now we have Anastasia Yaskova, the Mayor's Community Affairs Office. Anastasia, are you?
She's on.
She's maybe, I see she's muted. Let me see. No. Okay, maybe she's having some difficulties. We will circle back. Okay, and now we have Paulette Ha, Council Member Alexa Avilas's.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes, hi Paulette.
Hi, thank you so much for having us today. I usually it's the my counterpart Edward Cerna who attends the community board meetings, but I was he is tied up with some other things, and I'm actually a CB10 constituent, so I'm so happy to be here as a panelist. Just a few updates. The Councilwoman Alexa Avila, she will be having a press conference March 24th in City Hall at noon at City Hall Park to advocate for the reinstatement and replenishment of the state budget for excluded worker funds. So thank you, Senator Grenardis, for being in Albany and pushing that up there as well. A couple of other updates that we just wanted to give while we were here is our office met on March 3rd with Council Member Sandy Nurse, and they held a press conference concerning cuts to the sanitation budget. We want to make sure that, you know, sanitation is not only an environmental issue, but it's also a justice issue and a climate issue. So we are on the ground advocating to make sure that the mayor does not make any further cuts to sanitation. Also, the councilwoman she chaired her first public housing committee budget hearing this month. It'll be the first of many. And we called on the authorities to make deep investments into NYCHA and to really take a look at streamlining repairs. We also talked about launching office hours to some of our communities. So we have started mobile office hours in Brooklyn, Chinatown, and also in Red Hook. And on the local front, we were made aware of some of the school crossing guard vacancies that were plaguing our schools at the last CB meeting. So thank you so much for putting that on our radar. We partnered up with the 72nd Precinct to make a huge push to have our community fill these applications, and we've been able to fill 2 out of the 10 vacancies because of our advocacy and our awareness. So we would love to share those flyers and those applications to CB10 as well, if you want to push them out to the schools and to our parent community, because they've been filling those vacancies, and we're so happy to partner up with them to do that. Lastly, we participated in the March for Transit Equity on Saturday, where we organized with community advocates, with parents, with education advocates, with an organization that's been doing amazing work with parent advocacy around public transportation. Our children are bused to the high schools, they're bused to their D75 programs, they're bused to their middle schools, and unfortunately the busing has been atrocious this year. So we marched in solidarity with transportation advocates for cleaner buses, for more transparency at the DOE level, and for accountability, so that our parents can expect reliable public transportation for our students. And if there's any questions, I am here for it.
Thank you so much.
Lori,
And now we have,
Lori, there's
what?
there's
Joe?
a hand raised. Judy has a hand raised.
Oh, go ahead, Judy.
You're on mute, Judy. Okay.
Well, yes, I have. Paulette, can you tell me, I was trying to make an appointment on behalf of the Bay Ridge Age Friendly and the Bay Ridge Senior Center with the council member, and I did it through her email, but I didn't hear back. So I don't know if I'm doing the wrong thing.
Okay, I will make sure that I put not only our district email, but my personal email. So if you want to just forward that request, then
Okay,
I will,
thank you.
I'll put it in the chat for you, and
Thank
I'll make sure
you.
that I elevate that up.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, no problem, Judith.
Okay. Thank you very much. And now we have do we have, I'm sorry, was that another hand up? No, we're good. Okay. And now we have from the mayor's office, maybe. I'm just going to try to get back to Anastasia again and see if she's
Yes, good evening. My apologies. I had technical difficulties. I could not connect for some reason. I don't know.
No
Yeah,
worries.
good evening, everyone. Glad to be here. Just a few announcements from the mayor's office. That the mayor announced an expanded summer program that will connect over 100,000 elementary and middle school students to fun, cultural, relevant, hands-on experience to strengthen their academic, social, and emotional skills. Enrollment will begin in early April for Summer Rising, which is a free program that will be administered by New York City Department of Youth and Community Development and New York City Department of Education. Also, as we already know, last week, Governor Hochul authorized a one-month extension of legislation allowing public bodies to continue conducting meetings virtually, but she also encouraged those entities to begin meeting in person as soon as possible. Also, Mayor Adams signed executive order to strengthen fire safety enforcement and outreach in the aftermath of the tragic Twin Parks apartment fire in January. And the executive order will increase coordination between FDNY and HPD inspectors to identify safety violations earlier and increase fire safety compliance. FDNY and HPD will also launch a broad campaign to educate New Yorkers on fire safety. Also, New York Embroidery Studio will be the newest tenant at the Brooklyn Army Terminal, signing the largest new lease at the terminal in 3 years and filing one of the largest spaces at that. This expansion will create more than 500 on-site jobs, yielding an estimated $73 million in economic output for New York City. The full-service design manufacturer will take over nearly 80,000 square feet to create a state-of-the-art facility and where they will manufacture personal protective equipment for frontline healthcare workers across the country. And that would be all the updates for this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now we have from Borough President Antonio Reynoso's office, Carol Ann Church, the Borough President's Director of Community Boards.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Chair Laurie, for recognizing me tonight. I'm here tonight mostly to introduce myself. Again, my name is Carol Ann Church, and I'm the newly appointed Director of Community Boards for the Borough of Brooklyn. It is a new position and definitely a tangible symbol of the Borough President's commitment to providing community boards with as much of the resources as necessary to ensure that they continue being the most representative form of democracy in New York City. You know that's what you do by voicing your opinions on everything that goes on in your community. He wants to make sure that those opinions are voiced with substantial evidence, data backed, and so we'll be working towards being able to provide that level of support. Also, we're looking to provide support for community board district offices, operational support, trainings for board members as well as staff, and advocacy at City Hall and sometimes even Albany. As mentioned here tonight, the executive order is on remote meetings is about to expire. We'd like to hear from you. We've heard from you DMs about the value of remote meetings. So that's one of the things that we can work on together immediately. What's happening at the office right now? We're new, we're still setting up, but currently we are deep into the community board appointment process. We're on track to complete that no later than May 1st. Keeping fingers crossed, we will get it done. It's new for most of us there. And as soon as that is done, we'll be moving forward with addressing some of the other requests that you've asked of us. So that's it for me tonight because my colleague Jessica Callow is here as well, and she will have something to say as well. So just introducing myself tonight. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. And thank you for coming to introduce yourself. We're very happy to have you, and we really look forward to working with you. And now Jessica, who we see all the time.
Thanks, Lori. I just wanted to introduce Carol Ann. We're super excited to have her. She's amazing. So I'm sure you guys will love working with her. And we also have a women's history celebration going on Thursday at 6 p.m. It's sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's women in comedy. So it's supposed to be a comedy night starting at 6 p.m. So I encourage anybody who's into that to come along. I mean, it's supposed to be really fun. I'm very excited about it. And yeah, so any questions on that? That's Thursday. And you can just reach out to me if you have any other issues that you want us to help us out with.
Thank you very much, Jessica. And now we have Donald DeRosa on behalf of New York City Comptroller Brad Lander.
Hi, everyone. I am back. I know you missed Comptroller updates so dearly, so I am here to steal more of your time on a Monday evening. But thank you, Lori. Bring greetings on behalf of Brooklyn's own Comptroller Brad Lander. I just wanted to give you two quick updates. We have really hit the ground running on a lot of projects, a lot of things that are continuing, and a lot of new initiatives that will most definitely be rolling out in due time. First and foremost, I just want to extend our heartfelt feelings for many of our Ukrainian friends here in New York City and abroad. I have many new and old colleagues in the Comptroller's office who are Ukrainian and have so many family members who are there and evacuating to border countries in Eastern Europe. And on that front, the Comptroller felt, morally responsible to take initiative the way we can. So he immediately instructed our pension team to look at any and all Russian securities that our 5 pension systems were invested in. And he presented a plan to the 5 pension systems for divestment from Russian securities. And we're happy to say that to date, both the Police Pension Fund and NICERS have voted to divest all Russian securities that they have been invested in. We do hope that the 3 remaining pension system boards also follow suit. For folks that don't know, unlike the state comptroller, the city comptroller does not have the unilateral authority when it comes to investment and divestment decisions for the pension funds. Each pension fund has its own board, and we are one voting member of many, but we are the fiduciary, so we do make all of the recommendations. So again, we do hope that the remaining pension funds also vote for a divestment in Russian securities. Next and last big thing, prior to taking office, Mayor-elect Adams, then Mayor-elect Adams, and then Comptroller-elect Lander impaneled a task force to look at payments to nonprofits. And in the last fiscal year, the city allocated over $30 billion for goods and services to nonprofits. That's over a quarter of the city's budget. And we fundamentally cannot operate this city without the work of our nonprofits. And for folks who don't know, the pitfalls of getting paid to do service on behalf of New York City is just horrendous and extremely delayed. And the comptroller feels very vested in this issue, not to say that his wife is also a nonprofit executive. So the political is personal, but we know that this is a major issue. And our office and the mayor's office jointly put out a report a couple of weeks ago that I will drop in the chat that really highlights some great reforms that we can make on an initial front. And the mayor and his team very much acknowledge that a lot of it falls on them, but we will hold their feet to the fire, most definitely. And we look forward to working with the mayor on that. And last but not least, we have a lot in the works for various things across the city that we are going to get the comptroller out, including in Bay Ridge. Josephine, I definitely owe you a call, so expect that soon. But we're very excited to continue to get the comptroller out to talk about some big issues that are happening both, in our city and what can be done in Albany as well to fix that. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And it's good to see you again. Thank you for all the updates. And now we have Frank Fontana from the New York City Department of Buildings.
Hi, good evening. Frank Fontana, Department of Buildings. Just two quick updates. March 8th, last week, the Department of Buildings issued a new service update. So for now on your property profile, if you are looking for to see if a property has had any kind of BSA decision, so dating back from 1998 till present, any property now that has had any kind of BSA decision in the past will now be marked on the property profile, so you can view that. It'll say yes or no. And then secondly is the live Q&A session. That occurs every 2 weeks. So the next live Q&A session with Project Advocate is March 29th from 2 to 3:30. And I'll post the link inside the chat box. So if you have any property owner that has any particular questions about the certificate occupancy, project requirements, anything related to construction, any question at all, you can log on virtually, and hopefully one of the project advocates will be able to answer any of your questions. And just a reminder, when you are searching information on a property, it's always just to check BIS as well as DOB now. Some application, newer applications now being filed through DOB now. So if you are looking for any kind of information, check both systems. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank. And
Thank you.
now we have Nancy Lulu. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have a question again?
Larry.
Go ahead, Larry.
No, we have a new buildings commissioner today.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Acting Commissioner Gus Chirakis, he's the acting commissioner, and then Melanie LaRocca, she's going to the efficiency office. Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you very much. And thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Okay, and now I have Nancy Lulu from Brooklyn DA, Eric Gonzalez's office.
Thank you, Lori. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I bring greetings on behalf of DA Gonzalez to everyone. Just a couple of announcements. I'd like to acknowledge what's happening with the conflict of Ukraine and Russia. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez has partnered with immigration professionals from Safe Horizon and Brooklyn Law School for this urgent initiative, Project Safe Refuge. We will help provide legal assistance to Ukrainian nationals who wish to apply for TPS, temporary protected status. Ukraine has been declared TPS eligible by the federal government as of March 3rd, 2022. We understand this issue is personal to many residents of Brooklyn. This will be held it's going to be held Sunday, March 27th, in partnership with Shorefront Y in Brighton Beach. The address there is 3300 Coney Island Avenue from 12 to 4 p.m. Also, the Brooklyn DA's office will be holding a Women's History Month celebration in collaboration with Brooklyn Borough Hall and the Brooklyn Chambers of Commerce, where we will celebrate women business owners on March 28th at 6 p.m. at Brooklyn Borough Hall. So to RSVP for this event, you could call 718-250-388 or email communityaffairs@brooklynda.org. So come ready to network and to build your brand. And also, we are now accepting applications for our 2022 spring high school internship program. Our goal every year is to provide interns with an understanding of how the criminal justice system operates and how our office works to keep Brooklyn safe and strengthening community trust. The deadline for the submission is April 1st. And as always, I would like to remind everyone with our Action Center's phone number, if there's anything you would like to address with us, to call 718-250-2340. And thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Nancy. And now we have Jody Moraniello from New York Edge. Or do we? Let me see. Do we have
Yeah,
Jody?
she's on the attendee. I'm just putting her on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jody, you should be able to speak now.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having us this evening. My name is Jody. I'm the Beacon Director at 264 for New York Edge. Just wanted to come on, let the community know a couple of exciting events we have coming up. We have our health fair on May 18th. That's in co-partnership with the school wellness committee, as well as we're having a middle school game truck camp during summer camp from April 19th to the 21st from 2 to 4. And we're also here if anyone's looking to hold community events. We're free and open. We like to say we're like a catering hall. We'll provide everything, not only the space, food, centerpieces, whatever you need, we have it. And I'll put my email in the chat for anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes my list of people who had signed up in advance of the meeting for the public session. So I do see that there are some representatives of some of our other elected officials. If any of you want to speak, just throw up a little hand and I'll call on you. Otherwise,
Ruth has her hand up, Lori.
okay. I just want to try to make sure we've got all our electeds first and then. Okay, go ahead, Ruth.
I just want to say, you hear me?
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Good, good. So representing the Bay Ridge Jewish Center, I'd like everyone to know that we have a committee called the Chesed Committee, and they do good deeds throughout the community and within the center. And they have a project that I think would be nice for everybody to know about. It's called Well Wishes for Seniors. And they encourage people to write out greeting cards. And last year we collected about 650 greeting cards. Many were handmade and others were store-bought. Either way, it's fine. And the cards wished seniors in our community a good day and just said nice things. And the cards were distributed through the Bay Ridge Senior Center and Bay Ridge Connects. So, and also this project is in conjunction with International Good Deeds Day, which is an international organization that has projects throughout the world they all take place around April 4th. So we will be collecting these cards within the next 2 weeks. So if anybody on our board, in our audience, anybody in our community wants to make a card or purchase a card, you don't have to put your name on it. You could just say, a neighbor or whatever it is, or you can. And it makes a lot of people who are homebound happy. So that's the current project. I just wanted to let you know about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. That's a very nice project, and thank you for bringing it to everyone's attention.
I just want
yeah.
Great. I just want to add that the cards can be dropped off at Bay Ridge Jewish Center in our mailbox or in the office, which is on 81st Street, right off of 4th Avenue. And that would be the best way. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Let me see. I thought, Habib, did you have your hand up? No? Okay. All right. Well, then that concludes our public session. And now we move on to our public hearing. And we have 2 matters on the agenda for SLA liquor licenses. And so we will turn it over to Barbara Vellucci. All right, Barbara, where are you?
Barbara is here.
I'm here. There you are.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good to see everyone. We have some lengthy reports, so get the popcorn, loosen up. Here we are. So we met via Zoom on March 9th. There was a quorum, Lori, before you ask. Yes, there was a quorum. And this is a continuation of last month's application requested from this board following the February general meeting. This is a new application for Bar Tavern, not yet named, by owner Vito Ruggiero, who was present, and his attorney Frank Palillo was also present. If you remember at your last meeting, we had several questions. One was Mr. Ruggiero's management experience. He works at Skyline Billiards and has been managing this establishment. In addition, he will be employing Callum Sigg, S-I-G-G, as general manager, and Mr. Sigg works at the 3 Jolly Pigeons. I believe he is the manager there right now. The second question you had was the outdated certificate of occupancy that was to be revised, as it was a bakery with a total occupancy of 5 persons. From the last board meeting, it came that a letter of no objection couldn't be issued in this situation, and that a C of vote must be submitted. Now, there was much discussion held by all, and the conclusion was that, as with other establishments, a letter of no objection has been accepted in the past, and the committee accepted that. Concerning the hours of operation to 4 a.m. with music, including a DJ as part of the method, it would be agreed that 4 a.m. will stay, but the live music or the occasional DJ will end at 2 a.m. and be replaced with background music. Regarding the hours of operation, Mr. Polillo said that it was following JJ Bubbles. He thought that they were exempt from a 500-foot hearing, but Josephine Beckman has investigated that, and a 500-foot hearing is necessary. With the application, the questionnaire was complete. The menu has basically bar food, 8 appetizers, bread, pizza. There were photos and a floor plan. The application indicates, like I said before, a live music, an occasional DJ, an occasional live music, and background recorded music. The applicant agreed to update the question on page 6. Would you do everything in your power to provide sound control to the establishment? And this is being corrected as the renovations go on. There will be New York State certified security. The applicant states that there will be no more than 74 people in the premise, and there may be occasional private parties. After a discussion period, the committee's decision was to move to deny this application unless the owner agreed to the following stipulations: that the premise will operate as a bar tavern, a certificate of occupancy or a letter of no objection will be obtained. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premises until appropriate authorization is issued by the SLA. The hours of operation will be 7 days a week, 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. with live or DJ music ending at 2 a.m. The sound level of music will remain below the level permitted by the New York City Noise Code. Appropriate soundproofing will be installed and maintained, and a decibel level meter be used. There will be no music on the outside of the premises, and there will be no use of outdoor space. The doors and windows will remain closed while any music is playing. The licensee shall not use any promoter or have promoted events. The premise will not be sublet. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be a 20% view into the establishment at eye level. The applicant agrees to a 6-month review, and the applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation, it will give and meet with the community board and the committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. The owner agreed to the stipulations, and the committee approved that. So is there any discussion? I believe Stella is speaking. Is she
Oh, I
speaking?
see there's one hand up. Oh, there's a few hands up. Okay.
Okay. Hi, Steve. I'm so surprised.
Yeah, Barbara, I'm looking at this. We had the discussion. Now we're still talking about 7 days a week, 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., DJ ending at 2 a.m.
Right.
And we're agreeing to that. I have a real problem with that. I
Okay.
don't understand why we would do this for 7 days a week when literally there's people living all around them.
Well, they said it would be occasional, and that they would be putting, whatever soundproofing they needed.
Yeah, but the
And
occasional
I
doesn't,
believe also that the Mr. Ruggiero has the apartment upstairs.
regardless, all right, there's people across the street, there's people all around them. I don't understand why they have to have this. I understand that he says it's only going to be occasional, but he can ignore that occasional because it means nothing. What we have is 7 days a week, 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., and that they're going to end the occasional guy, okay, who comes in there, or a woman, at 2 a.m. I don't understand why we're giving them till 4 a.m. 7 days a week. I don't understand why it can't stop at 12 or 1. Okay, and what, you know, why it 7 days a week at all?
Well, they're stating that Bubbles went to 4 a.m. and as other establishments do also.
And what does that got to do with anything? This is something that we have with them right now, and we have, you know, and if they want to open the establishment, that seems to be perfectly reasonable. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But till 4 a.m., like even if Bubbles had that, hold on for 1 minute, please. Even if they had that till 4 a.m., okay, the other ones, we don't have an experience here. We had good experience with JJ Bubbles. We do not have an experience with this applicant. And maybe if he wants to come back in 2 years and show that he's been absolutely, you know, fine, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, well, then we can start talking about it. But for this one to just say, go ahead, 4 a.m. is perfectly okay, that you can have somebody in that, you know, we'll occasionally have somebody until 4 a.m., but most of the time it'll be to 2 a.m., which is pretty late anyway. But I have a real problem with this acceptance, that particular point.
Okay, Josephine, is Mr. Ruggiero here?
Yeah, both the applicant and the attorney are here. So Lori.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, no, I mean, I was, I don't know if they would.
Please.
Want
I'll
to
put
speak
them on.
to that?
I'll put them on.
Stella, can I talk?
One second.
Oh, 1 second, Stella.
Yeah.
I'll get you, you're next, okay? We're just seeing if the applicant wants to speak to Steve's comment about staying open.
Yeah, both the applicant and the attorney are in the meeting room.
Yes.
Vito?
Mr. Palillo?
Are they muted?
I don't.
Good evening.
Yes.
Vito says he doesn't have access to participate.
I just gave him access. Hold on, I'll do it again. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, yes, we hear you. Thank you.
Yes, did you hear Mr. Harrison's tribulation over the thing we discussed about you going to 4 a.m.?
I did. So part of it is what we initially discussed as far as getting people out of the bar. You know, that 2-hour window allows us to slowly empty the bar without having a crowd of people hanging out at 2 a.m. on the dot. You know, part of it also is as discussed, the DJ and live music is going to be very infrequent. And to be honest with you, from a business standpoint, it doesn't pay for us to have that from our end. So we wanted the option for private parties, which we will have occasionally, to provide that and pay for that if they would like it for themselves. Besides that, staying open until 4 a.m. Is not something that we expect to do on a regular basis. You know, we have certain nights of the week that obviously that pays for us to do. We will be respectful to everything we've agreed to, and we've also agreed to a 6-month follow-up, which I think is fair, and I think it would be fair for us to get, you know, to have the opportunity to prove that we will do everything we can to run a good business and do what's right for the neighborhood. As far as not having, you know, any experience with us, as you had mentioned, Callum is coming on the team. He's been in the neighborhood for 16 years and really is a very well respected person in the business in this neighborhood. He's never had any issues. I've worked a little bit in the neighborhood myself, and I manage a place, you know, not too far away in Gravesend. I'm not looking to cause any issues here in the neighborhood. I just want to run a good, successful business and give back, you know, this bar that really shouldn't go away and should continue to serve the regulars and all the new people that should have an opportunity to experience this place, you know, and our version of it. But
okay, thank you. Okay, I see that. Sorry, Stella, you had a comment? You wanted to speak on this?
I think we should be really very flexible this time. Business have to be grow. We have to be flexible to help the people, watch them. And if it turns to be different, then we step in. Right now, give the chance to business. We need people to make a little money. If they don't disturb, if they're decent people and don't destroy or don't bother the other people of the community and the neighbors, let's give them a chance. Let's be more fair. The economy is very bad. Help the people. Help the business of Bay Ridge.
Just to be clear, Stella, just to be clear, we're not saying that we don't want this establishment in the community. What the debate is that, and we had discussed this and you had discussed this, was that, 4 o'clock is a very early, very late, a long time to be opened. And we're concerned, especially with new businesses and to Frank and to Vito, a lot of the businesses, it's 4 o'clock and it turns into 5 o'clock and it just gets later and later. But I'll have Doris. You're muted, Doris.
Okay, hear me
Good.
now?
Yes.
Yes.
I have serious concerns. The concept of occasional is just too vague. It's, we need a better definition of
Take
that,
that.
when they will be. And second of all, I've been a board member a long time, and I've been listening to SLA applications for a long time. And I don't even think I can count on one hand, maybe two fingers, how many people, how many establishments want to be open to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. It is totally inappropriate. Some places that operate much more like nightclubs are only open till 4 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I think the 4 a.m. is totally inappropriate, and I'm very concerned about the impact that this will have on the people living in that area.
Okay, thank you, Doris. I see Anne, you have your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to speak to the point of the certificate of occupancy or letter of no objection. I mentioned last month that I do not agree that a change of certificate of occupancy is not required. But that notwithstanding, at the very least in these stipulations, I'd like to ask for a friendly amendment to have it say certificate of occupancy or updated letter of no objection, not one that they're going to pull out of a drawer from 1980.
Oh, well, then we have to apply for it.
Yes, you have to go and apply for it. So that would be my request, is to add the word updated.
It doesn't exist.
It
It doesn't exist. There is none.
Yeah. Well, you would need, or your team would need to secure it from the Department of Buildings.
Right. We can't
That's right.
update something that doesn't exist.
How about with the word, would everyone be, would the applicant be agreeable to the word new?
Yeah.
Letter of no objection?
That's fine.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay.
All right, I'm writing that in. I'm writing it in.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
And I see that, Jill, you have your hand up?
Yes, I agree with Stellar on one hand, but I agree with Steve on the other. When you give approval for these times and days liquor licenses, it's extremely difficult to change it after that. We've seen how difficult it was to get rid of bars that had severe problems. And I just really feel for people who live around there in the neighborhood, who have young kids, the music, the time, 4 a.m. during the week. That is a concern of mine as well. I mean, I love going out. I love bars and restaurants, but I don't live there. So my concern is always with the residents who live there. And I fear that once you give approval for that amount of time and those amount of days, it's going to be extremely difficult if they do have a problem. And I'm not saying that you will have a problem. I'm just saying once it becomes a problem, if it does, it's extremely difficult to go backwards.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Steve?
Yeah, the issue I wanted to be really clear too is that it's not just a question that they're going to be open till 4 a.m, but they can have music until 4 a.m. All right, so we have a DJ that can be playing there at 4 a.m.
No,
This
that's
whoa. Wait a second. Let me finish. All right, that's something I understand what you're saying, but you can't just say that this is going to be occasional. This has to have a lid on it of some type. No one's saying you can't open this bar. No one is saying that that's not what's happening here. What we're saying is that the hours that you're asking us to approve, all right, are really outrageous. And under those circumstances, I'm asking the board to disapprove it altogether.
So
Unless you agree to cut those hours.
So can I also just mention that we've agreed to keeping the windows closed, not playing DJ music after 2 a.m. and soundproofing the business so that background music is not to be heard outside of the bar. I'll be living upstairs with my children as well. I have two 8-year-olds. This isn't a situation where I'm trying to turn this into a club or anything like that. I want to run a bar, a good neighborhood bar that's been there for almost 50 years. I want to continue that legacy. And I want to do it with the option and the opportunity to occasionally give my customers what they would like within the guidelines that I've agreed to, that the committee has set forth for me.
I have to
It's only
say that the
recommended
problem is
to the
occasional.
Community board. The
Okay.
committee is only a recommendation to the whole board.
Understood. I understand.
Okay, so let me ask you, Vito, you know, Sunday nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what about going to 1:30 or 2 o'clock? You would not consider that?
So, I mean, the truth is, on a regular basis, it's likely going to be the case anyway, based on business trends. But if I were to agree to not doing any Monday, and then we have a holiday on a Monday where the neighborhood is jamming and everybody's making money and everybody's okay with it because it's appropriate, then I've cut myself out of that. I just, to be so specific, without the understanding that I'm trying to run a successful business and also be fair and honest with you guys. I mean, if you give me an opportunity to prove myself to you and we come back to a 6-month review and I've done something I said I wouldn't, then we can discuss it. But to assume because of other things that have happened with other places, and I understand your point, I really do. But just as somebody had mentioned, it's difficult to undo what's approved. You know, that works both ways. So for me to blindly say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll close at 1 o'clock, that's going to be the case 90% of the time anyway, with the occasional, like I said, holiday, or if there's a 3-day weekend where people are out, you know, that runs with the trends of the neighborhood and everyone else is operating the same way. I'm not trying to do anything different than anyone else is doing.
I don't understand what kind of holiday you could possibly have on a Monday or several Mondays that's going to make or break your yearly living.
Can I just ask?
Doris, I'm sorry,
I just want to support the concept that 4 a.m. on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is totally inappropriate to our community. And I know we don't have these numbers available right now, but how many establishments in Bay Ridge are open till 4 a.m. on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday?
Not many.
I know.
Usually.
Okay, I'm sorry. I see that Steve and Jill, do you still have your hands up from before, or do you want to speak again?
I think I've
You're muted, Jill. And Steve,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I wanted to ask the same question as Doris. I don't know of any bars that have possible DJs, music until 4 a.m. I do know certain restaurants that are supposed to close at 11 and 12 who are not supposed to have loud music, and their doors are supposed to be closed. The doors are open, loud music does play, and we've had so much trouble getting them to comply. I also know restaurants who have little huts outside in front of fire hydrants, and we can't even get the fire department to take those huts down. I also know restaurants who have televisions outside and speakers, even when they said they wouldn't, and they continue to put them on. So I'm not saying that you're going to do that. What I'm saying is it doesn't work both ways the way you said it, Vito. It works the way I'm saying it. We can't go back. You can go forward, as far as I know. So I don't appreciate that comment. It's a residential neighborhood, and you are on a residential street with a lot of families that live there. And we do have a lot of problems with the bars that do stay open later, and not the bars that close at 10, 11, 12 o'clock and that aren't open on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Sunday.
What Vito was saying, if I may, is that once he starts with earlier hours, the reputation of the premises is earlier hours. And
Yeah,
once you
I
got to
understand
know,
that, but that's
But
not,
let's not
okay.
have back
I
and
can't
forth.
finish my comments. So
No, you can finish your comment. Go ahead, Mr.
just-
Mr. Palillo.
So that's what I'm elaborating on is the fact that once you start closing at a certain hour, that's the hour you're known at. And you will not get that later business. Can I just ask, I'm sorry, I don't see him. Stephen, you referred a couple of times to occasional is just not going to work. Can you tell me what you're referring to? Maybe if I understand what you're talking about, I can hopefully offer something that might please you. What is?
I believe that Steve was saying that he was saying, well, he has the right to have the music, or he said he'll have an occasional DJ. And what Mr. Harrison is saying is that doesn't really limit you in any way. It's
Why
just
don't we
something
limit?
he's
Why don't
saying
we
right
limit the
now.
DJ to a certain number of nights a week? Would that work for Mr. Harrison?
Not if it goes until 4 o'clock in the morning.
No, DJs.
Well,
DJ's
I
ending at 2
believe they
o'clock.
already stipulated to cut the DJ off at an earlier hour.
2 o'clock.
2 a.m.
The problem is that other people have stated it. We have had this experience before. People say, well, but you know what? Suddenly it's 2:15 and then suddenly it's 2:30. And so I think there has to be a definite time. And if in fact there is a violation of that stipulation, then we will go after you. I mean, you've got to agree to these things. And it's got to be specific.
Okay, I mean, well, we do have a specific time for the cutting off of the DJ that the applicant has agreed to. What time is that, Barbara?
2.
In the steps?
2 a.m.
Now, you said that you might be willing to limit the DJ to certain nights of the week. Is that what you were offering?
Or a number.
A certain number of nights?
Would
Okay.
that work?
If in fact, if I can just speak, if in fact you say, let's limit it to 3 days. If you did it, you could do the last 3 days of one week and the next 3 days of the next week. So those kind of things don't work.
So then I don't know what else we can offer to make you happy in this situation without.
What if you said Friday and Saturday, Vito?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Again, I'm genuine about the fact that this is not a regular thing. And if that's what it takes to prove it to you outside of, doing this long term and seeing that I'm true to my word, I'll limit it to Fridays and Saturdays if that's what it takes.
Yeah, but not 4 o'clock in the morning.
We don't-
Till 2, Steve. He stipulated till 2.
2 a.m.
Okay.
I mean, that was agreed. That was agreed first.
And I thank you for that. Do we have any more questions or comments from? Stella, go ahead.
I have a comment. I don't go to places like that, as you know, my age doesn't permit that. But do you know what the youngsters doing today? 4 o'clock for the young people, it's just 8 o'clock for us.
So we're not saying that. That's not part of the conversation.
No, it's
Okay,
not.
so
Excuse me, Lori.
Sure, go ahead, Joe.
I don't know if this is relevant to AX, but now the manager that's coming in is coming, I guess, leaving the Three Jolly Pigeons, correct?
Correct.
And going to manage it.
Is that right, Vito? Is he?
Callum's on the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see him.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hi. How are you?
For some reason, Callum's phone says Vito Ruggiero.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it does.
So-
There's 2 vetoes. There you go. I'm sorry. Can you speak to that
There's
question?
only one veto.
So he's asking He's leaving the Three Jolly Pigeons to come to the location where Bubbles was, correct?
Yes, yes. I'm trying to make
How
sure we have
long have you been down at the Three Jolly Pigeons?
16 years.
Okay. Now, can I ask, Lori, Bernard, Josephine, how many complaints has there been down at the Three Jolly Pigeons about disruption and noise and all in these years?
Yeah, I mean, not to the district office. I would have to check their 311 data, which I can.
But I feel that could be relevant, because if you have a manager that is managing one place all these years, and there hasn't been any problems or disputes or police having to be there because of stabbings or anything else, I think it does play into it. If you're going to have somebody decent there that's running the place.
Yeah, we're not debating the managerial skills of Caleb.
But I mean, if you have a decent manager, I that keeps things in hand, which if he's kept them at hand down at the Three Jolly Pigeons a number of years, I know it's a different location and maybe different clientele, but
right. But right now we're talking about the noise level and the music.
Right.
So change stipulation number 4, Lori, to read the hours of operation will be 7 days a week, 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. with occasional live or DJ music on Friday and Saturday, ending at 2 a.m.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And Joe, while Josephine is taking a look at that 311 information, I just want to see, do we have any other questions or comments from anyone? I see, Doris, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
I still want to reinforce the fact that I don't remember any other place that's open till 4 a.m. 7 days a week.
There are multiple in the neighborhood.
Can you tell me 2?
Yes, Kitty Kiernan's and Three Jolly Pigeons.
There, I mean, from what I recall, just point of fact,
there are exception. It is a rare exception.
I mean, Doris, from what I recall, some of the it's not within recent history, I guess, going during Barbara's tenure as chair of police and public safety, or mine maybe. There are a couple of really old establishments that have continued that way because we STIPs a long time ago were different. We in recent history we really haven't given many. You're correct on that, Doris. Sorry.
I want to reinforce it. As has been said by several people, this is a residential community, and these are in residential communities. And when they leave the bar, that's when many of the issues occur. And when they occur at 4:30 in the morning, that's problematic.
Thank you, Doris. Okay, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak, Vito?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey,
go
I'll
ahead.
just let you know, there's more than just 2 bars in the neighborhood that's open till 4. The Hop Bar, Poorhouse, Kettle Black, the Wicked Monk, they all have 4 a.m. licenses.
Every day
It's
of the
just,
week?
and that's just along 3rd Avenue. And so it's kind of hard to assume that there's no other bars.
Well, I would still say it is the exception.
Okay. Thank you. And do we have any other questions or comments?
Right here.
That's Lawrence Delta.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Larry.
You're still gonna have the stipulation about the C of O?
Yes, so that was changed to they have to get a certificate of occupancy or a new letter of no objection. And that was agreed to by the applicant. Josephine, did you?
Yes, there were no noise complaints associated with Three Jolly Pigeons
Okay.
in the
Thank
last 2 years.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments? I see Frank Palillo has his hands up. I don't know if you intend to.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
You can't stop a lawyer from talking. I would never accidentally put my hand up. I just have a question. I'm pretty sure, doesn't the community board post notice of the meetings in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Have any neighbors complained or expressed concern about a 4 a.m. closing at this location?
So what I can say to you, Mr. Pillow, we did get 2 or 3 calls about the establishment. And what we've seen is if we have a prior establishment that does not have adverse history, which we've had before, previously, we will not get as many. But we have had occasions where we've had an establishment without adverse history, a new place open, and then all of a sudden they have a DJ or another type of operation where you do have. But we did receive inquiry calls, but no complaint calls that were concerning about what was coming in terms of establishment type, what the method of operation would be. We did get a few calls.
And I was present at both meetings, and I could confirm that no neighbors appear to express opposition to these premises, correct?
Correct. That is correct. But because they've had an establishment that has not had issues, you see.
Great. I'd like to follow their lead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Henry.
Hi. I just wanted to say I've been hanging out at Three Jolly Pigeons for many years. I know Callum well, and I just wanted to attest to Callum's, professionalism and responsibility, and that bar has been a very well-maintained place for the last 17 years.
Thank you, Henry. Okay, do we have anyone else? I don't see any other hands up. I would like to call the question on this if we don't have any, I don't see any other discussion. So Josephine?
Okay, I'm just going to remind you, board members only. I'm going to launch the poll.
Josephine?
Yes, Joe?
Now we're voting
If
for
you're
giving,
yes.
so I'm
Okay,
in
so-
favor.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, the motion is to adopt the committee's recommendation to disapprove the liquor license unless the applicant agrees to all the stipulations that Barbara read at the outset with the 2 amendments that were made and agreed to during the discussion by the applicant, which were with regard to a new
Letter of
no objection, thank you, and to having a DJ only on Fridays and Saturdays, and on those days only until 2 a.m.
Okay,
In favor.
thank you, Joe. Okay, so motion carries 29 in favor, 3 opposed with 2 recusals and 1 abstention.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank you very much. Barbara? Hit.
Josephine, excuse me,
Yes.
Steve. All right,
Okay.
I did not have, I'm still not clear there, but you're saying in favor with that. I did not have a chance to put it in. I want to say that I voted in favor.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you all.
Make sure
Thank
that-
you all.
Oh, and actually, so did I, Josephine. Because I'm hosting, I didn't get the vote thing, but.
Okay, we will make sure you're
you.
counted on our vote tally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Barbara.
So I just needed a little drink right now.
And she says it's water.
It is. I make sure I had a bottle with a name on it. Okay, everybody. So this is a renewal application for Lone Star Bar and Grill, application for Miss Tracy Blaze. Josephine, is Miss Blaze and or Mr. Gentili here this evening?
No.
Okay. All right. So make yourselves comfortable. Because it is a lengthy report. And I do incorporate some of the things from our last report from 2 years ago, because I thought that was important to bring things together for the record and for some of our new members. So This is a renewal application for this establishment. The owner, Miss Tracy Blaze, was present. The operation of this establishment is a restaurant, bar, and grill. The certificate of occupancy for this address is noted as none, as the old one from 1949 is deemed unreadable, and there is no permit for assembly, as the partially filled application from 2020 noted 75 as a C of O. From the 2020 application, and then this is the only hours I have because they were not filled in the new questionnaire, which was only the 30-day notice, were from 11 a.m. to 4 a.m., 7 days a week. In this submission, only the 30-day notice form was submitted. There was no menu, no photos of the establishment or hours updated. There is no certificate of occupancy provided as requested 2 years ago. The older application indicated that there was no licensed outdoor area. This form also stated none as outdoor use and only a jukebox as music. There has been adverse history connected to this establishment regarding the use of the yard and the two neighboring yards with mounted televisions, grills, and the bar and loud music. The alcohol is served and smoking goes on in all three of these yards, which is a violation of SLA on its premise license. Both Ms. Blaze and Mr. Gentili, going back to 2018, agreed and assigned to stipulations. In September of 2018, Ms. Beckman wrote to Mr. Bradley from the New York State Liquor Authority regarding the fact that Ms. Blaze and Mr. Gentili are not abiding to the stipulation agreement of March 2020. That in that agreement, there were 128 noise complaints to 311, 15 calls to 911 for disorderly conduct. There was a fight. Going back in history, and I'm going to do this on purpose, 311 phone call 70 for 2017, 39 for 2018, 12 for 2019, and 8 for 2020. 2 calls to 911 in 2020. That stipulation agreement is still disregarded today. The present day search of 311 calls in preparation for this updated renewal, dating back from 2 years, from March 2020 to March 2022, there were 96 calls for noise and loud music from the establishment and the yard. In March 2020, there were 2 residents present who testified that the noise and the use of the yard were ongoing. Although Ms. Blaze and Mr. Gentili had claimed that the yard was no longer being used. Mr. Gentili suggested that the noise is coming from neighbors using their fire escapes. We know that that was not true. We have seen evidence from videos and pictures from the back of the property from the residents who faced the yard. We have shown videos of the yard in use and a person recording Super Bowl parties, stating that she was in the yard. That was 2 years ago, and the use of Lone Star's yard continues today as of March 2022, even though the application still states no outdoor use. There was a video shown from September, this past September 2021, and a resident from Galston Avenue sent a recent audio, a sound audio, right? Josephine, there was no video for that, right?
Yeah, there was video and sound.
Video and sound, okay. Residents provided pictures of the yards in the past showing tremendous amounts of tree debris and what appeared to be hundreds of black bags of garbage. At that time in 2020, Mr. Gentili stated he couldn't afford the carting company. He also showed that he does get rid of garbage, as he showed me a picture on a cell phone of overflowing dumpster in front of the establishment. He had stated that was from a few months ago, but you can't do that. You need a carting company, so dumpsters that's a violation. The collection and hoarding of garbage continues today, March 2022. There are Department of Buildings and Sanitation violations. In addition, this past fall, a street shed I don't know what the correct term is, but you know what I'm talking about, Josephine. I'll just change the wording as you like, has been erected that is totally enclosed and thus in violation of New York City regulations. In attendance at this meeting, 2022, there were several residents. The community board received numerous calls and emails asking that the SLA license not be renewed as this establishment is not a good neighbor. Now, Ms. Blaze was present. She stated that the backyards are not being used as it is all closed off. She feels that she is a victim of harassment, that these are all lies, and that any issues have been rectified. As to the street closure and closure, everyone else does it. She is a victim. And she was quite animated about that. And nothing that we have spoken about was true. Now, present at the meeting was the owner of the building and her attorney. Upon seeing this, Ms. Blaze left the meeting for a short time. The attorney for the owner, Mr. Damian Sanders,
I know what this stupid.
informed us that the owner has filed a motion for ejection with the Supreme Court. I guess you can't do eviction, so ejection is another route you can take. Rent has not been paid for over 2 years. In addition, the tenants have left and no one wants to rent the apartments because of the noise outside. The owner, when asked, informed us that Mr. Gentili claimed to have paperwork allowing backyard use. She now knows that this is not true. She owns the building next door also. We were also informed that the garbage in the backyard is not thrown away, but rather brought down to the basement. Ms. Blaze and Mr. Gentili have disregarded all prior stipulations agreements that they have made with the board and have failed to abide by SLA regulations. The blatant violations continue from approximately 2010. In light of the facts that the recent application was incomplete, the rear yards continued to be used as an extension of the restaurant where the use of smoking and serving of alcoholic beverages continue. The numerous calls to 311 and 911 regarding noise complaints, the serious Department of Health and Sanitation violations regarding the hoarding of garbage on the property instead of contracting a private carting company, as all establishments are required, and the erection of an improperly created outdoor shed. This committee votes and requests that this board deny SLA renewal and that a letter be sent to the SLA reiterating the above. The committee requests a motion and approval from this board to accept this nomination. Well, this recommendation. Steve.
Okay, well, the motion is on the floor. Steve, you're on mute. Yeah.
I so move.
You so move. Okay.
Well, I think that we had, since you did meet in quorum, Barbara, your motion's already on the floor.
Okay.
So it's just open to discussion. So we don't need a motion, but Steve supports it.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Steve. Thank you,
And
Steve.
does anyone else have any?
Well, just one more thing, Josephine. The day after our meeting, now I don't know what this is, BFSCS, the sanitarian inspector.
Yes, that's from the Department of Health. So the day after our committee meeting, the Department of Health did dispatch a inspector to the site, and they issued, I think it was 17 points worth of violations to the establishment. They did confirm, they did see the bags in the basement. They described them as, quite a large number of bags, producing flies and other unsanitary conditions. The Department of Health said that they would be re-inspecting the location within 2 or 3 weeks.
And you also said that they've been working without a food handler's license?
Yes, their food handler's license was expired.
Okay, so are there any, I don't see any hands up.
Question, can you hear me, Lori?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe, yes.
Now, who's not paying the rent, the tenants or the Lone Star?
Lone Star is the tenant.
I know, I mean upstairs, the apartment, or they're vacant now.
They left.
They left. And Lone Star is not paying the rent.
Yes.
Correct.
And
well, why aren't they evicted? Why isn't the place padlocked?
No, because
by the marshal?
there's a moratorium on evictions because of COVID.
Well, actually,
that
not
shouldn't be for that.
anymore.
Okay,
But the
No.
attorney, the ejectment action, which is like an eviction action, except it's in Supreme Court, that's pending. So they're in court now. The landlord was at the meeting. She spoke. And I think her attorney was there too, right?
Yes,
Barbara? Yeah.
Damian Sanders.
Yeah, and he spoke about the that they're in court now, litigating, you know, to get to evict essentially Lone Star for non-payment of rent and all these other problems.
Sandy?
How long do you think that could take?
I checked it on I checked it on NICEF, and they made a motion for summary judgment. So it's possible if they win that motion, it would be sooner rather than later, but it's possible that motion could be denied if there's an issue of fact raised. So could be a while.
Thank you, Lori.
Sandy?
Yeah, thank you, Laurie. Just to add my 2 cents in on Lone Star, being that I'm the building owner right across the street from this business. I have video and pictures of Lone Star employees taking garbage bags, walking them across the street from Lone Star to my building. And one morning I found myself with 96 bags of garbage, which I was fined by the New York City Department of Sanitation for having a large accumulation of garbage outside of my building. This is just another incident of how this business does not have any willingness working with the community. All they care about is themselves. They victimize themselves for everything. And just yesterday, when I walked by Lone Star, I saw that there's a black cable from the roof of the building to the shed in the street. I don't know if it's electric. I don't know if it's cable TV, but there is a black cable from the roof of the building to the shed outside in the street. This business has come before us numerous times and has given us numerous why they shouldn't that everybody's out to get them. They've always come up with some kind of excuse. I think it's time for this business to go. They are not good neighbors. They don't care about the neighborhood. They don't care about the building, and they care about nothing but themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, do we have any more comments or any more questions? I do not see any hands up, and I think that we should then call the question. So all in favor of the motion, which is to deny this renewal and send a letter to the SLA along with it, giving our reasons. So the poll is up.
In favor, Josephine.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, so I see 100% in favor. Okay, thank you. All right, and you good, Joe? We have it?
Yes, I got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, thank you. Okay, and so thank you very much, Barbara, and that closes our public hearing. And now we were on to the chair's report. So good evening, happy spring to all. We have all set our clocks and sprang ahead. And yesterday was the vernal equinox, marking spring's official start. And I, for one, am happy to usher in the new season and look forward to the warmer weather. With any luck, we will be resuming in-person monthly board meetings, starting with next month's general board meeting at the Fort Hamilton Senior Center on April 18th. I know that coronavirus and its many variants have continued to throw us logistical curveballs, so if there are any changes, we will let you know. I do understand that online meetings can be longer and a bit tedious, and I thank you all for hanging in there. As we are still currently using the remote platform, I would just like to mention some rules of order that apply to both in-person and virtual meetings. Each meeting has a public session for which people may sign up in advance to speak, and the public session is always a portion of the publicized agenda. The agenda also has a publicized list of various items that the board will address at the meeting, and the discussion at the meeting is to facilitate the board's action on the agenda items. During the discussion, all comments by participants are supposed to be directed to the chair, to me, or whoever's running that part of the meeting. And the chair would then recognize the board members and gives them turn on the floor to speak. And these rules apply to whether we're in person or going remotely. And they allow the meeting to remain orderly and ensure the discussion properly concerns the items on the agenda. And it also lets us conclude the meeting at a reasonable hour, hopefully. So also at in-person meetings, there's often supplementary written material that's often made available by the evening speakers. And during the remote meetings, we've used the chat function to provide this information, and also to allow people to send messages when they're having technical issues and the like. However, recently, the chat function has been used as a forum for sort of side discussions and commentary by people who don't have the floor. So in order to avoid disruption to the orderly business of the meeting, I'd ask everyone's cooperation in refraining from using the chat in that manner, and to kind of follow the rules a little more closely so that our meeting can proceed effectively and efficiently. Tonight's meeting has been effective and efficient, but in past meetings, it's caused a little bit of disruption. So I just ask you for your participation on that. And I thank you for showing up month after month, continuing to care, and for your cooperation and generous donation of your time. Respectfully submitted. And now we are on to the district manager's report with Josephine Beckman.
Thank you, Lori. Good evening, board members. So the district office received a communication from the TBTA Bridges and Tunnels about intermittent overnight closures on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge during the early morning hours. This is needed due to an early morning construction operation. There will be several intermittent 15-minute periods of full closure, both directions, upper and lower levels. And the TBTA has requested that we help spread the word. This month, it will take place on Wednesday, March 23rd, Thursday the 24th, Friday the 25th, from midnight to 4 a.m. The closures are necessary to perform a load-sensitive structural operation that requires a temporary prohibition of all traffic on the span. The bridge will reopen to traffic after each intermittent closure and will allow traffic to clear. So we are going to pay close attention to this construction operation over the next few months. I also wanted to share that I attended Councilman Brannan's who hosted a New York City Health Department Rat Academy, which provided valuable resources and information for the community, including pest management tips for building residents and preventing rats on your property. We will be sharing this information in upcoming newsletters in more detail. And the reason why it's important, because right here at home in Community District 10, 311 service request for rat sightings is currently up. And simple steps can really be taken to prevent rats in the community, and we all need to do our part. So we're asking that we share the word about this. Managing garbage is very important. Utilizing simple things as tight-fitting lids can assist. We also learned about lots of pest management tips. And just to share, 311 service requests for rat sightings from March of 2020 through February 28 of 21, there were 175 311 service requests, as compared to March 21 through February 28 of 22, there were 317. So we want to make sure that we get these helpful pointers out to residents of the district. March is also typically a leading month for pothole complaints resulting from snow and salt used on our roadways. It is the month that we begin to review our resurfacing priorities for the season. So if there's a street that anyone would like to see added to this list, please send an email to the district office. When street surfaces have multiple recurring potholes before paving, DOT can make temporary smooth surface repairs. It's called a center strip, which was recently performed a few blocks of 5th Avenue in the district, 78 to 79th Street. CB10 also requested repairs to the roadway surface at 7th Avenue southbound between 80th to 81st Street following numerous community complaints. In March of 22, there were 81,311 service requests for potholes, many on the same roadway recurring as compared to only 50 in February. So you could see those numbers spike up, and we do keep a watchful eye. A few announcements. The Councilman Brannan mentioned earlier, the Bay Ridge St. Patrick's Day Parade is this Sunday. And as Lori mentioned, our next general board meeting right now is scheduled to take place on Monday, April 18th. And we have reserved the Fort Hamilton Senior Center, so stay tuned. Thank you, and respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much, Josephine. And now we are on to the Treasurer's Report with Shirley Chin.
Thank you, Laurie. Good evening, everyone. The Treasurer's Report as of February 28, 2022. Total personal services is $152,002.28. Total other than personal services is $10,708.47, leaving an encumbered budget balance of $98,508.25. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you in person next month.
Thanks, Shirley. And now we have zoning and land use with none other than Doris Cruz.
It's unlike police and public safety. I don't think I have anything to get anybody's blood boiling. The Zoning and Land Use Committee met on March 16th, 2022 via Zoom. We did not meet in quorum. We reviewed a report that had been prepared a few years ago about the 65th Street corridor. The report was created in response to the committee's concern about development of the corridor as large-scale developments appeared on 4th Avenue in Sunset Park and Park Slope. The committee feared a wall of large buildings in this area. The corridor is a manufacturing district. Hotels can no longer be developed as of right in manufacturing districts. Restaurants can operate in M1 zones. The Department of Education can develop in M1 zones. Residential developments are not permitted in M1 zones. 65th Street from 3rd Avenue to Fort Hamilton Parkway is a high crash area. Current usage is generating more pedestrian traffic on the corridor. 65th Street is a 100-foot wide street, and wide streets can lead to speeding. Businesses in the area often use the sidewalks for their own use, encumbering pedestrian usage. Concerns were raised about what the manufacturing needs are in South Brooklyn following the loss of manufacturing in Sunset Park. Concerns were also raised about infrastructure. If there is development here, would the infrastructure be upgraded? It should be noted that the MTA has told CB10 that the 8th Avenue station on the N line is the most heavily used station on the line. The report showed pictures of other manufacturing zones that have been converted to residential. It also showed other zoning possibilities, combinations of manufacturing and other variations. We did not meet to make any decisions. I wanted the committee to meet to refresh their memories of these discussions and think about options for the area. Committee members wanted to be sure that since 65th Street is at the northern edge of CB10, that residents of our neighboring boards would have input. CB10 has a good working relationship with our neighbors and will include them in any discussions. Members also noted the need for schools in this area, and that should be part of any discussion. A homeless shelter for families is planned at 65th Street and 8th Avenue. As stated earlier, residential use is not permitted in an M1 zone. Thus, there will be a rezoning of the area to allow the shelter. We do not know the scope of the zoning yet. We do not know if the zoning for a homeless shelter will create an interest in other residential development for the area. Again, one reason to meet was a vision or concept for the best use of the area. rezoning of the area will require uniform land use review procedure. At that time, there will be a thorough discussion with community outreach and public hearings. So it's on our radar and something will be happening soon. Thank you for your consideration. And it's information only, no vote.
Thank you very much, Doris. Despite the fact it's only information, and we don't have a vote, does anyone have any comments? I don't see any. Okay. All right, Doris, that's it for you this evening. And now we were on to communications and public relations.
Thank you.
Where is
Henry?
Oh,
On? Yep.
I'm sorry, Larry, you had your hand up? I'm sorry.
The site of the homeless shelter is the former gas station?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're really on to the communications and public relations report.
Thank you. Yeah, so the communications committee met via Zoom on last week to discuss the board's digital outreach. At present, we have 740 followers on Facebook and 141 subscribers to the YouTube channel. And the newsletter has almost 2,200 subscribers. The open rate is about 50%, which is very high, demonstrating that residents want the information that the district office is able to provide. These numbers are strong, but there's room for improvement. And so the committee met to brainstorm ways to increase the board's following. I asked all the committee members, and now I'm asking all of you board members to make sure that you're following CB10 on social media, and also to like the posts when you see them, because the more likes a post has, the more likely it is to be seen. So it's an easy way for us at the board level to amplify the district office's message. Josephine said the newsletter is very popular with seniors and others who are in touch with the district office. It goes out more or less weekly. She said that when residents call the office, they'll ask them if they want to be subscribers to the newsletter, and they almost always want to. And whenever there's a large public meeting with targeted USPS mailings, there's an invitation to subscribe. And so both of those measures have helped to increase subscriptions. I suggested adding the social media accounts to the board's letterhead. Essa Masood suggested using the newsletter to advertise the social media accounts as well, because at present the newsletter includes links to them, but it can be easy to miss. Josephine said she's also experimented with paying money to boost posts on Facebook, which has been successful in the past. Josephine said they've also experimented with posting stories to Facebook as opposed to individual posts, and that those tend to get more attention. Josephine also said that, most city agencies have dedicated social media professionals, but the community boards don't, and that it can be difficult to balance the demands of the office with the demands of social media. But the boards have raised this issue with the new borough president, advocating for social media training. Right before the pandemic, the board had hosted a digital forum on vaping that proved very popular. We had almost 700 views on YouTube through advertising it to local schools and other groups. And Josephine said she would be open to doing more of that kind of stuff. Jane Marie said her school is doing webinars on e-bikes and e-scooter safety with the Department of Transportation, and that could be a potential topic for a board-sponsored webinar. Judith Collins said there had been a lithium battery fire recently in the community, and that was another potential topic to cover in such a webinar. Josephine showed us that there's a sign advertising the social media in the office's front window, where there's all the sort of community information posted. But she suggested that maybe she would create a larger banner. Someone suggested adding a QR code to it. It was also suggested to get a TV for the front window to do digital displays, such as, playing the newsletter on a loop, that sort of thing. And there was also the idea that that if the office has items that they're giving away anyway, to sort of offer them as incentives for signing up to the newsletter. And that was it. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much, Henry. And now, I don't see any hands up let's see. No, I think we're good. And that would bring us to the topic of old business. Does anyone have any old business they would like to bring up? I don't see anything. I just want to chime on to what Josephine said. Oh, I see Barbara's got a hand up, but I want to chime on to what Josephine said. There's a lot of rats out. See them running around the street early in the morning, just out there, down at the park. We've got a lot of rats. Big, huge problem. I guess COVID, all the animals are running wild. They still are, the rats. They're alive and well and living in Brooklyn. Barbara Vellucci, have your hand up.
Oh, you're on mute, Barbara.
By the time I get this, we'll be meeting in person.
Next month, hurry up.
No, I had private message with Justin Brennan because he was talking about the rats. And I mentioned the 62nd Street between 10th and 12th alongside of the N train. And he says that is not in his district. So Josephine, what can we do to get those 2 blocks cleaned up? It's terrible. It's alongside of the train that faces the railroad tracks. And it is a garbage dumping ground.
Yeah, no, it is. It really is terrible. I know that the representative from Assemblymember Avila was on. That is an area that we have really asked Amanda Department of Sanitation to clean up. I have many conversations. I agree. It is a terrible, terrible dumping ground. I do have it on my list to speak to her office about, to see if we could get additional resources there. But I will speak to sanitation. The unit that cleans that area is called the MLP, and Councilman Brannan has in most of CB10 secured additional funding for MLP in the district. But again, because that's outside of his district, we don't see MLP as much there, and it really takes us to scream and yell. And Councilman Avila's staff member, spoke about environmental justice issues. And that certainly is. There are students who walk to school there. It is absolutely deplorable. When I met at budget consultations with the Commissioner of Department of Sanitation, I said, if you can't do it, we need to call on the National Guard. At times of the month, it is that bad. It is really, really bad. So I will again reach out to Department of Sanitation because it does attract rats. We have also put into 311 and Department of Health baiting in that area as well. So I will follow up, Barbara. Thank you for raising it today.
And just issue 2, something we've spoken about several times. And I know it's going to be an issue along Victor Memorial Hospital. The tractor trailers, the trucks, the RVs there and along 7th Avenue, like between 79th and 71st Street. I mean, I thought we were forming a committee to do something. Tell me what we need to do. I said I would help with that, but nothing has been done, and those people have just moved in.
Right. Well, there've been several operations, tow operations. Unfortunately, the police department can only tow 1 or 2 trucks. We are working with the mayor's office to set up that interagency. A lot of the agency people have changed and are shifting, which is why that's been delayed a bit. But the police department and the towing operation has continued. I just had an email, from the councilman last week where he did an all agency, outreach again. It is a daunting problem because there are so many trucks with little resources to tackle them that we have to look outside the box. I don't know if reaching out to the companies is going to work. That's one of the ideas that we had. Looking at those that have temporary, plates. Some have no plates.
Some have no plates.
Yep, many have no plates. So those are among the challenges, and the golf course is the leading area, but we have two other areas in the district that are also complaining. 7th Avenue down in the lower 70s, as well as Wakeman Place and Ridge Boulevard. Yes.
One of the things that got me into this, Josephine, was because Andrew Gennardis had put on Facebook that he was very happy that he was able to tow so many trucks and trailers from I guess a similar section in, I'm going to say Marine Park.
Right.
So if he could do it there, maybe if we have somebody from his office online here.
They have done, Barbara, they have done it here, similar to what was done in Marine Park. And unfortunately, they come back. You tow 1 or 2 trucks, you issue summonses, and I did look at the summons history. They've issued hundreds of summonses. It's not as if they have not, but you still need more. I mean, it's relatively a low number compared, and it's a resource issue, and the police department has also told us they have no place to bring these trucks once they tow them.
That's a terrible answer, because I know the signs say no parking like overnight. There's a stretch there that says that. So I have no place to put it, so I can park my car there. If I can't park in front of my house, that'd be great.
Right.
Well, Barbara, that's part of the problem. My family lives right across on 86th Street from the golf course, and there are drivers who live in the neighborhood will park those trucks there. It's cheaper for them to continue getting tickets than actually pay for a parking spot for those trucks. So it's a cultural thing as well, right? If they believe that that's going to happen and there's no constant towing, the problem is going to persist because it's more cost effective for them to get the tickets, right? So something more needs to be done than just ticketing and towing. I don't know what that is, but I just want to make that point that we've seen that, and my family has heard that living right across the street.
Josephine, just to I want to get to Jill next because she's had her hand up, but I just wanted to, I know that there were certain times when they had areas that were sort of flagged just as an aggressive tow zone. So basically, if you violated, like they really kept people there and on hand. I understand that it may be more difficult here because, as you said, these are big trucks and they don't really have a place, to put them all. So you tow a couple of them, and we just don't have the use. But maybe that's something, more towing, because if they're just absorbing the cost of the ticket really as a cost of doing business, that is obviously not inconvenient enough for them. But the fact that they won't be able to access their truck when they want to, or maybe we can, I don't know if they make boots big enough, but to just start booting them.
Yeah, we did. We did ask that question.
Maybe that would be, a more of a deterrent to doing it next time.
And we, I will share with the board members here tonight is that I do meet monthly with other district managers, and this is a big problem also in other districts. It really is a problem across the city, or at least in Brooklyn. I've heard from other district managers as well.
Okay, Jill, go ahead. I'm sorry, you've been waiting patiently.
Thank you. I just wanted to go back to the garbage situation. I joined the board primarily years ago for that reason. I have a passion for cleaning up the streets, and I wanted to thank Josephine in front of the board. I walk around a lot and take a lot of pictures of garbage, and one of the main garbage strips was the golf course around the park and Fort Hamilton around the park. And I send these pictures to Josephine, and she has a very good connection with Department of Sanitation, Department of Parks, and she always gets it cleaned up. Now, I don't want everyone to jump on Josephine. I'm glad to help her. If anyone wants to take my phone number to send me pictures and I could coordinate with Josephine, I'll be glad to help. But I think it's important that everyone keeps an eye out and does their part and take pictures and send it in, call 311, because eventually it does get cleaned up. So Josephine, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jill.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, and now Doris.
On the question of the trucks and the ticketing, is anyone investigating? They're being ticketed, but are the tickets being paid?
Yeah, that's a good question, Doris. It's a good research project. I mean, the adjudication of the average summons can take some time. New York City Open Data is a great tool where we can actually look up the Department of Finance and pending summonses. So I could definitely take a look at that because, you know, we've heard in the past that sometimes bigger companies can kind of group them together and they get dismissed. The changing of the signs around the perimeter of the park up to 92nd Street was implemented at the request of Councilman Brannan more than a year ago to kind of, you know, tackle this with enforcement, because enforcement said, well, you know, let's try this approach by putting signage up that clearly states you cannot park there between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. around the perimeter to, you know, as an added tool. And it was done on both sides of the golf course, including the Poly Prep side. And Poly Prep has had to tow some of the large trucks themselves, you know, have had to call for tows because they were blocking the entrance to their school. And, you know, the signs were put on both sides of the street in an effort to curtail this, but it was impactful for a short period of time, but it truly no longer is effective. It's just, there's just so many trucks. I mean, I saw video footage that was sent to the office and I was looking at it. The councilman had shared it. And it was a video of someone driving around the perimeter last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend prior. And it looked like a truck depot. I mean, it was around the complete perimeter of the on both sides of the street. It's a big problem.
Anne, I saw you had your hand up. You put it down. I don't know if you just got tired of holding it up.
Oh, I was going to ask if Poly Prep had joined the effort.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're still working on getting that together and coming up with solutions. You know, I guess the signs, you know, kind of, if without enforcement, they just sort of become optional. So
yeah,
with that, any new business? Habib.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just an invitation. The blessed month of Ramadan is going to be with us as of April 2nd till May 2nd. And our councilman and our state senator, along with the BID and the Bay Ridge Islamic Center, the Arab American Association, are hosting a breakfast or an iftar on April 8th at Erickson Park, 67th Street and 5th Avenue. And you are all invited to join this experience. You will love it. Nice food will be served. And it will be an interaction with a lot of the Arab and Muslim community. So everybody is invited.
Thank you very much, Habib. Okay, and I don't see anyone else's hand up. So that means that it's time for a motion. Oh, Sandy, are you making a motion to adjourn?
Yeah,
or do you want to?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I know if you're trying to get in on the end of new business.
No,
Okay,
I'll
so
second it.
motion to adjourn. I have a second. All in favor? And we're out of here.